What's going on, guys? We just got off work. As you guys can see, the weather is pretty bad. We got the wheels and tires off the Ninja 400 and we're gonna take it to Cycle Gear. We ordered some new tires, so I just got the email that it arrived already. So we're gonna take it to them. They're gonna mount and balance some tires for us, so stay tuned for that.
Thank you. How you guys are doing?
Thank you.
And the weather just took a turn for the worse. Check this out. Leaving Cycle Gear. They should have it done by tomorrow. I'm in no hurry. The weather is not really cooperating. Alright guys, so we got back from Cycle Gear, got the new tires mounted, went with the Michelin Road 6, and I'm going to compare them to the stock tires. These are the stock Dunlop Sport Max GPR 300s. The stock tires are going to be on the left and my new tires are on the right. So these are the Michelin Road 6s, and I did go a couple sizes up. I went with a 170/60 R17, and before the internet lights me up saying you shouldn't go that big, you're going to completely ruin handling, I just want to say I've always been a unconventional kind of guy. I like to try new things. And you know, if I don't like the wider tire, I'll just take it back to Cycle Gear, throw on a smaller tire, maybe a 160, maybe go back to the 150. But you know, I like to try new things, and it's my bike. I've been riding motorcycles for 12 years, and you know, it's your bike. You do what you want with it. I'm not going to track my bike. I'm not a race bike kind of guy. I just, you know, this is mainly a commuter bike, and I wanted to try a slightly larger tire just to see how she feels. So that's that. Anyways, let's go into a comparison between these two different tires. As far as, oh, I also want to mention, this is not going to be a perfect comparison because these are mounted on a rim, balanced, aired up, whereas the stock tires, they're unmounted, so they might look a little wider than they actually would if they were on a rim, aired up. But this will just give you a basic comparison between the tires. So right off the back, width-wise, they're pretty dang close. It's about a ½ inch wider. The new 170s are. Maybe close to a full inch if this was actually aired up on a rim, but it's just slightly wider. It's nothing huge. There should be plenty clearance on the back of the bike. I've seen a lot of guys on the forum that have ran 170, and some people love it. If you're like a track guy and you're gonna, you know, be taking tight corners and really, you know, burning your chicken strips off, then I get it. I get physics. The slimmer tire is probably the tire you want to go with, but you know, this is a commuter bike, and I think the wider tire, one, it's going to look cooler, but it's also going to be more stable on highway speeds, and with the weather we get around here in Washington, it should hold up to the rain a little better. So quick shot, the front tire, these are a 120/70 R17, so as size up from the stocks. It almost looks like these are actually slimmer than these, but again, these are not mounted. But what I can tell you is right off the back, you can tell that the new tires are definitely taller. So it's about a ½ inch taller than stock, and that's kind of what I wanted. Same thing with the rear. As far as design, you can see that these new tires, the Michelin Road 6s, have a lot more siping, so they should get a lot better traction in wet weather and the rain, and just overall grip compared to the Dunlop Sport Max. Alright, so the bike's on the rear stand. We're using our Pitbull Pit Crew tire wedge to make rolling on the rear tire easier, to keep that in place, and then we can slide in our axle. Got a little bit of MPPL here. Let's give this a wipe down. Just want to check everything's lined up on this side here. Still got the caliper in the hanger. We've got the rotor between the two brake discs. Nice. There we go. Okay. Washer. Use a little wrench here to get some tension on the chain. Make sure that's pushed all the way forward. And then we'll tighten up the cowscle nut here. Got a 24mm on my wrench here. Give her a few rotations, make sure she looks good. You can see there's still plenty of clearance. Again, 170, 60R17, it's not hitting the mud guard. Got about maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch on the sides. Same on both sides. Just check the slack. That's about 1 inch. Feels within spec. All right, time to focus on the front. I'm going to show you guys how handy this Pit Crew tire wedge thing is. So this just snaps in to any existing pit bull stand. You guys have a second set of hands keeping the tire elevated at the right spot, so you just have to slide in your axle, which is really nice. So that's pretty cool. The wheel just rolls up, slide in the axle. So as I reinstall this wheel in the front, I'm gonna go away with the stock hardware, which was a castle nut, washer, and cotter pin. Instead, I got these TST Industries fork sliders, which are really cool. These end caps are replaceable, so if you do end up going down in a slide, you just have to replace the top section caps here. It's really nice. Like that. So it's all ready to go when we get the wheel in place. Okay, we'll just roll this up the ramp. Be mindful of your spacers so they don't fall out. And then just get the rotors in between the brake pads. Okay, so slide that in like so. I'm just going to adjust my stand here so I get my axles and my center of my wheels lined up. Pushed all the way through. You can see it on the other side there. That acts as its own washer, and we don't need to use the old hardware of the washer and castle nut, and we'll use our new U-bolt. Get it nice and snugged up, and then we'll torque it to spec, 72 foot-pounds. Alright guys, I just got home from my test ride. Just put about 25 miles on her, going various speeds from 5 all the way up to about 80 miles an hour. Hit some stretch of highway and some curves. And I gotta tell you, my first impression, I love these tires. The 170/60 R17, I was afraid it might give, it might be an adverse effect on the bike and wouldn't be as nimble, but I could not feel a difference. She's still super flickable. I was counter steering 45-50 miles an hour plus, and she was still no issues. I could turn, I could corner. I really didn't notice much of a difference. Now, I don't track my bike. I don't plan on racing this thing on a racetrack. So, if I was one of those guys, maybe I would feel a difference. But honestly, for what I use this bike for, I love this setup. She rides so good. When I was taking my curves, she felt a lot more stable, and I had a lot more grip. I don't know if that's due to the wider tires or just the type of tire. This is the Michelin Road 6, but these are super grippy. They're a little bit on the pricier end, but definitely worth it. So we got the 120/70 R17 in the front, and I'm loving the way she sits now. So she sits about 1/2 inch, actually close to 1 inch taller now. So I'm really liking this setup. There are a lot of haters online saying, you're going to throw larger tires on there, you're going to ruin the bike, but I don't think any of those guys have ever done it. Maybe they have, or maybe they use their bike for different purposes, but for what I use this bike for, and I'm just super happy with this setup. So there you go. Those are my initial impressions of the new tires. Absolutely love them. Let me step back here. There's not a lot of information you can find on people running 170 on this bike. Some people do, and you know, the people that I talk to, they love it. And a lot of the people that are very strongly against it have never tried it. So anyways, that's my thoughts on the new tires. Loving this new setup. The bike looks a little bigger now. Let me see if I can grab the old tire. This is the 150 60 R17. And again, this tire isn't mounted, so it might look a little wider than it actually would be if it was mounted on a rim. But you can see the size difference. It's not by much. It's definitely taller, but it has no effect on rideability of the bike. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it rides a lot better. It feels a lot more sticky and definitely a lot more stable at highway speeds. Alright guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for checking out these new tires, and I'll catch you guys on a future video.